The center is collapsing in America. It's very clear that there is no narrative in the center that can hold it together. The center left have just shifted right into full-on social justice territory. And look,
who do you mean by the center there? Like the neolibs, or
yeah, the sort of Pelosi, Biden, that sort of corporate neolib structure has just fully embraced the radical left-wing view of whiteness, blackness, and racial and gender politics, right? So that there is now nothing that we, I guess, could describe as the normal view of racial and gender politics as before, the sort of individualistic view that the conservatives hold. That doesn't exist anymore. You've got full-on radical leftism coming out of Biden's agenda. I mean, this is a clip of Biden just announcing what his agenda is going to be.
Our focus will be on small businesses on Main Street that aren't wealthy and well-connected, that are facing real economic hardships through no fault of their own. Our priority will be Black, Latino, Asian, and Native American-owned small businesses, women-owned businesses, and finally having equal access to resources needed to reopen and rebuild.
Why?
Jesus Christ, because like the first part of that sentence was fine.
Yeah.
Second part,
I mean,
crazy.
well, hang on. The first part, don't lie to me, Joe, right? Taking money from Ukraine, China, Wall Street. Yeah. You're not interested in helping small businesses. But then to have to racialize it and gender it, to essentially be like Black, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean, is there any group that's being left out here, Joe? Oh, that's right. White small business owners. Yeah, go away. That's essentially what I took away from that.
76% of the country or something like that?
Is 50% of the country was small businesses before the COVID lockdowns. It's going to be doubtless.
Oh, no, I just mean the group that's being excluded.
Yeah, something like 70% of the United States is white European. Yeah, and he just doesn't seem to care. I mean, he does also say, "Oh, we'll help the mom and pop stores in rural America out." It's like no one believes that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second.
Well, only certain kinds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which in rural America is largely white. And he says, the restaurants that have been slammed by the virus. It's like, the virus has done nothing to restaurants. The lockdowns have done everything to restaurants. So don't skip that necessary step where you guys had decided to close these things down. Because again, it wasn't Republican areas that were shutting down. It was Democrat areas. Essentially holding their own states to ransom over this, to be honest. But anyway, so you can see the kind of racial and intersectional agenda that is just coming out of Biden's administration. Notice they, in their tweet, our priority will be they clip the bit where it says, look, we're giving priority to essentially the non-whites. Yeah. And, of course, women, because women are a victim class now, right?
It's a very important point. It isn't the Republicans that have clipped that to be like, look at this. Not
yeah, no, they clipped
the
that
Democrats
themselves.
Saying, this is us looking good.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly. So it's just going to be full-on racial politics from Biden, which is nothing new. But anyway, and then we get to find out, and he announced yesterday that Biden had appointed a woman called Kirsten Clark to run the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, and this woman is kind of like Tariq Nasheed, right? I bet she follows him on Twitter. I bet she watches a lot of his content. She is what I would describe as a black supremacist. And honestly, hearing Tucker Carlson just read out her statements was gold for me, right? And so we've got it's about 2 minutes long, but it's totally worth your time listening to Tucker Carlson explain her worldview. Let's go.
Quote, please use the following theories and observations to assist you in your search for truth regarding the genetic differences between blacks and whites. End quotes. You know it's going to be interesting. And it was. Quote, 1. Dr. Richard King reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2. Black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3. Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4. Some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5, melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. End quote.
Melanin accounts for the cultural differences between blacks and whites.
Oh no, the calcification of the pineal gland.
Yeah, but
That
the reason that's important is because it stops melanin production.
Apparently.
That's her opinion, not mine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the opinion of science. Josh is big on these subjects, not quite in the way that she is. I mean,
He's
science.
not like measuring dimples in the skulls. Or
No.
anything like that.
He's big on science, not this crazy racial supremacy. And he's currently working on an article to refute all of this very concisely. But it's not just her that says this sort of stuff. This kind of black supremacy is all over the internet, to be honest. I've seen loads of it in my time, and it's roundly mocked as being we was kangs. So that will be up on lotuseaters.com probably by the time the podcast is finished, in fact. So if you would like to be able to refute these things with facts and logic, then Josh will have done the job. But the point is, this woman is an insane racial supremacist. I mean, if anyone sat there trying to establish the genetic differences in culture between blacks and whites, and then with the purpose of suggesting that blacks are, what was it, physically, mentally, and spiritually superior in a way that Europeans can't even measure, it's like, look, this is disgusting.
Because the physically and mentally, I think it's like the Nazi position, which is that the Aryan race is superior.
Completely,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And the spiritually one was actually the Japanese supremacy.
Oh, was
where,
it?
like, they didn't claim to be physically superior, but they were spiritually superior to the rest of the world.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Well, apparently this person disagrees. The blacks are the superior.
They agreed that it's a thing based on race, but
Oh,
it's
yeah,
only
yeah,
the
yeah,
black
but- yeah, no,
master race that...
Yes, that unironically, but again, Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, like a very influential department, part of the Justice Department, very important in American politics.
Well, that's...
And
they're going to be the ones dealing with Black Lives Matter and cases like that.
constantly, and this this is what the Americans apparently overwhelmingly, unprecedentedly voted for. They were like, what, we don't have enough racial supremacy in government. Give me Joe Biden.
Oh, man.
Donald Trump thinks all lives matter. Like,
I only think melanated superior lives matter. That's her opinion.
How's that? And the thing is as well, right? She also seems to be something of an acolyte of Louis Farrakhan. So that what he was quoting there was just a letter she'd written to the Harvard Crimson, their magazine, about race. And while she was a student there, she'd invited, I can't remember the name of the chap, but there was another professor who had written a book called The Jewish Assault on Black People or something, or Blacks. And yeah, it was full on Louis Farrakhan stuff that the Jews are puppeteering the whites in order to hurt the blacks and stuff like this. And it's like, holy crap, okay. These people are off the rails as far as I'm concerned. This is unacceptable we're probably going to get in trouble on YouTube for this. This is you can't have these kind of videos on YouTube now. And yet now it's in Biden's government. So it's like, okay, great. Okay.
Are they going to ban her off Twitter for this?
I guess not. I think she's in the right place with the right time. But anyway, so then let's just have a quick catch up. So this is how the left is radicalized, right? You can see the radical elements of the left coming straight to the fore, taking office.
When you're arguing in the government that melanin predicts if you're superior or not.
That's right.
Is that not radical?
Tariq Nasheed is in the government now.
Oh, man.
And the thing is, Tariq Nasheed's actually better than this woman. I mean, Tariq Nasheed's actually not that bad compared to this.
I think he thinks that they're spiritually superior, but not physically and mentally.
Well, I mean,
she's
haven't
gone
asked
further
him,
than
actually.
him. But
Yeah, maybe we'll get him on and find out how he feels about her.
I'm sure he'll be on the Biden administration soon, so don't worry.
But anyway, so let's get to Pelosi's impeachment, and we were told. Sorry, go to the next one. Yeah. So we were told that Pelosi has announced Trump's impeachment managers. 7 out of 9 are women, people of color, or LGBT. So it's a very intersectional and progressive impeachment squad. One of them is Eric Swalwell, who he's the guy who had an affair with a Chinese spy, communist spy, and he's one of the impeachment managers because the Democrats just don't care. They just don't give a shit about your opinion on this. They're okay with China. They're okay selling out to China. When people are calling him Beijing Biden, that's perfectly fair. He took 2 stacks. He's 10% for the big guy. He takes this money. These people sleep with the Chinese spies. They don't care. They appoint them to be the managers of the impeachment of the American president. They don't care.
I mean, this guy I want to make the joke, he took two, but I can't. Anyway, he literally sleeping with a Chinese spy.
Yeah.
They will have nudes of him or something compromisable, surely.
Totally.
Put him in charge of the...
But do you want your elected representatives having affairs with Chinese spies?
But then putting him in charge of getting rid of the anti-Chinese candidate.
I know,
Because the whole point of this, AOC released it, I don't know if we'll get to that later, but she said that the whole point of this is to stop him from running in 4 years. So if the Chinese can get this guy stopped from running in the next 4 years, eliminated a problem for them, hasn't it?
Yeah. Only cost them 2 stacks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so McConnell is apparently pleased with the impeachment because McConnell is I don't want to call him a traitor, but I can't think of a better word. No, seriously, Mitch McConnell apparently, and this is just like rumors from the grapevine, really.
Please.
Yeah, but he is apparently pleased and believes that Trump committed impeachable offenses. He's pleased that Democrats trying to move to impeach him and believes that it will make it easier for him to purge Trump's supporters from the party. Again, according to rumors from people around him. But to be honest with you, there's probably some truth to this. And so what's going on with Trump and Trump's side of the Republican Party? Well, they're not exactly being very moderate. And I say that as someone who is a diehard Trump supporter at this point and is happy to go down in flames with wearing a MAGA hat, right? So YouTube have suspended Trump's account for a week. This is only for 1 week because he got a strike on it, apparently. This was...
Hang on, did he upload anything new or not?
He did. 4 days ago, he had uploaded the video where he'd said, please stop rioting in the Capitol and go home. That was fine. That's still up. Then he went to the Alamo yesterday where the border wall is and gave like an hour-long speech. To be honest with you, it was very boring. I watched it, but there wasn't anything in there that I thought was even really worth talking about.
Was he even talking about the Capitol?
He didn't. He mentioned censorship on Parler, which was bad, and then he just sat there talking about how good a job that his administration had done with the border wall and how he was, how he liked all the people doing it and all this sort of stuff. It was fine.
So that doesn't break their terms of service as written.
Well, not that I would have thought so, but as they say, YouTube is suspending Donald Trump's channel for at least 1 week and potentially longer after his channel earned a strike under the platform's policies. A recent video on his channel had incited violence, YouTube said, but I don't know what video it was. They'd put up a bunch of clips of his Alamo speech, and I was just like, okay, but I didn't hear anything in there that I considered to be an incitement to violence, so I don't know what YouTube's doing. But basically, I think this is YouTube making moves towards eventually going, yeah, well, there we go. It's Donald Trump's YouTube channel gone. So he's literally forbidden from Silicon Valley, and he's hanging from a thread. And again, this is cartel behavior. The same thing happened to Twitter with Alex Jones. Everyone on the same day, blump, 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 get rid of Alex Jones, this cascading effect. And then it came down to everyone looking at Twitter and Twitter being under pressure to ban him. And they had to come out and say, well, we haven't banned Alex Jones because he hasn't actually violated our rules. And then a week later, he was gone too.
Yeah.
Same thing's happening here.
Thanks to Ryan Hartwig as well, in case he's watching, but he's one of the guys who came from Facebook's moderation team and released the screenshot showing that, yes, they just made this up out of the blue. You can see on the moderator's page, emergency update, ban Alex Jones at InfoWars. Not that they've broken the terms of service. They didn't even claim that. They just said, new terms of service, that's banned.
Yeah.
For no reason, just it's gone.
Same sort of thing with Tommy, where they just make up what they claim Tommy, the threats that Tommy apparently, an incitement that Tommy apparently...
Well, they openly defamed him.
They openly defamed him, and when pressed on it, a Danish representative said, well, it wasn't any one post. And it's like, right, okay, so you claiming he had called for people to behead Muslims, that was false.
Very specific claim.
Yeah.
Couldn't show a post.
Illegal.
So that's even worse, because then you're defaming a guy as well as being, obviously partisan and arbitrary.
Yeah. But anyway, so this same thing is clearly happening to Trump, right? So the question is, how's Trump doing? Well, a Rassmusen poll, if we can get it up, despite the Capitol Hill riots, found Trump holding at 48% approval rating.
Is that up or down?
That's actually up like 2 points.
So he got more popular.
Yeah, he was 46%, I think, in the last one. Then he was 48%. The thing is, Trump actually, the Rassmusen polls, I think, and Hugo was... thinks that they're more accurate because they do landline calling, which means they get in contact with more boomers, basically. More boomers are obviously inclined to support Trump. And so this is why I actually do take Rassmusen polls very seriously. But the rest of them obviously exist.
They're online polls.
Yeah, but most of I think they are online polls. But yeah, so Trump's approval hasn't really collapsed, at least with his base anyway. The Hill put out another poll saying that 41% of people approve of Trump's handling of events, with 59% disapproving. 61% of voters believe Trump should have done more to stop the violence, where 39% say he did enough. So I think that's the sort of that's the Trump base I think you're looking at there. About 40% of the United States are like solid Trump supporters.
But, overall, generally bad, but not as bad as I was expecting.
No.
Don't know about you.
Well, I mean, 41% approving of how he handled the events. I mean, that's pretty good.
I mean, I don't know what more he could have done. He literally told them, be peaceful, then put out a video, and then a tweet.
And many people wouldn't have known he even did that because he was censored. So, I mean, I don't think that's terrible at all. And if 41% or 40% of the country is his hardcore support, man, the Americans have got problems. The Democrats have problems governing this country now. Trump has apparently lost 10% support in the GOP. This is the one. The 87% was previously up until January the 3rd, and then at January 8th, the 11th, he's just down to 77%. So that's the Republican Party members. 77% still massively in favor of Trump, even after this. So Trump has lost hardly any support with his core supporters. So Trump's in quite a strong position, right?
It's not a big loss.
And so Mitch McConnell, like, okay, we're going to get rid of the MAGA crowd from the GOP. It's like, they look like they are the GOP. I hate to tell you this. I don't know where you think you're going to get extra voters from.
He's going to delete 70% of the membership?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Like, what are you talking about? Like, Mitch, you're sat on top of Trump's giant MAGA cap. You turtle.
It's like we're going to take what is it? The whole joke of like we're going to get rid of MAGA country. You're in MAGA country.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a Spectator article about this a while ago where I like the title of it. It's like, it's UKIP's country. You just live in it.
Yeah.
And that's true.
It's MAGA country.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell just lives in it.
Exactly. That's totally true, at least by the polling. And the funniest thing about this is we are going to get onto AOC's unhinged late night Instagram rant from yesterday. But I want to be very clear, right? AOC represents to the Democrats what QAnon represents to the Republicans, right? Because QAnon, the worldview of QAnon is that the country is run and led by evil people with an evil agenda that is designed to hurt them and their families. That's exactly what AOC's principles are, position is. That's exactly what the QAnon position is. It's just two, obviously, radically different worldviews, but run along the same lines. And QAnon is remarkably popular. Sorry, it's not this one, John. If we can go to the civics one.
There's civics.
Oh, no, that is civics. Sorry, go back. It was the previous one. Sorry, it was my mistake. So, yeah, civics did a poll and found that 1 in 3 Republicans believe QAnon is mostly true, and another 23% believe that it's partly true.
Man, who even knows what QAnon is, though? Like, I'm not even sure I know what it is.
Well, I mean, the BBC keep posting things like QAnon is a conspiracy theory where people say that President Trump is waging war on a satanic pedophile deep state elite. And it's like, okay, but why is that bad?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what he literally said when they asked about it? It was like, is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, is he winning? I don't really want the satanic pedophile deep state elite to win.
I'm not saying whether or not that's real. It's just weird.
But the point is, more than half of the Republicans basically believe that QAnon is true.
Okay. It's quite a lot.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
That's tens of millions of Americans.
But for AOC's crowd, I assume you just replace the paedophile cult with the rich.
White supremacy.
White supremacists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it.
Well, everyone who's rich is a white supremacist, probably.
Essentially, she thinks that Confederates run the country. And it's like, okay, mental. But anyway, so... what's interesting, right, is that 72% of Democrats said that QAnon conspiracy is not true at all. So that means 28% were like, well, there are some grains of truth to it. It's like, I presume that many of these rode on Epstein's plane or something. I don't know,
like Bill Clinton was putting in the yes box, wasn't he?
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Because if you look at the people who are traveling with Epstein, not many Republicans there. Lots of Democrats, lots of left-wing voters, lots of celebrities who are all sort of left-wingers, So it's like, right, that's... I mean, I don't know what... Like, this thing, QAnon is like expanded out in some vast, like...
Yeah.
That's
why I'm not even sure what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to make the argument that there are elitist pedophiles in existence...
We know that's true.
that is
That's what
factually true.
Yeah,
Like,
Epstein was arrested and convicted for this, and that's why he was arrested again. That's why Ghislaine Maxwell is currently under arrest.
like, I'd rather they wrote that question. Do you think there's a group of elite pedophiles who, you know?
Yeah, because I mean that's obviously true. I mean the BBC going like, "Oh, people think that QAnon's real." You protected Jimmy Savile for his entire life, so he could rape children for his entire life. You protect him. In the 70s, Johnny Rotten was calling out the BBC for defending Jimmy Savile because Jimmy Savile was a pedo.
Yep.
In the 70s, like this skinny little weird-looking Johnny Rotten, like googly-eyed, you know, he's there going, well, you know, there's a lot going on with Jimmy Savile or the BBC and all this, and it's like, Jesus Christ. You know,
But that's what I mean by when they ask, do you think QAnon's real? I don't even know what the question is.
yeah. Are there elite paedophile rings? Yeah. Yeah, we know
Yeah,
that.
and the BBC protects them.
Yeah, and so the BBC's protected them, and other people have been in jail for this, convicted of this. So, you know. But anyway, so you've got these two very hardcore and extreme and irreconcilable views of the world, and that's why, as we covered the other day, but this is just worth bringing back up again, massive, like literally half the country thinks that the Civil War's coming. 71% of Trump supporters, 40% of Biden supporters think the Civil War's on the road.
That's almost 3 out of 4.
Yeah, it's almost 3 out of 4. Yeah, but that's for Trump supporters. Only 4 in 10 Biden supporters. But I mean, you know, if that's roughly
nothing.
5 to 6 out of 10 people overall think that civil war's coming, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, civil wars are caused by the people who fight them, and the people who fight them know what they're doing when they're fighting them. And if you've got all these people saying, "Yeah, civil war's coming," they're essentially saying we're going to do that.